Hello, Dina. We're going to go on the second part of the tree tour. So the last time I showed you the trees, those are simply the trees that are in the garden in that area. So we've decided to push our fruit forest all the way to the front. So we have fruit growing all down there. We're looking at the berries now, and over yonder is the garden there we were before. And this time we're going to go into the trees that we have lined up here. So we have a wide assortment of peaches to begin. This is our biggest, strongest peach. This is a contender peach, which I think it means it does better in heat from what I've read. He produces a bunch of little peachlets, but he's just not big or strong enough quite yet. Not mature enough to be able to bear proper fruit. But he's got a nice head of leaves, so good on him. We're hoping next year we'll see if he keeps his peachlets all year. And if not, keep letting him grow. We're gonna move on to this guy. This is a peach called a Hale Haven peach. I got this from Walmart, believe it or not. Walmart had a strangely wide selection of tree types, including this. So if you look, all of that little like light or green growth is new. That's come in since we planted it. So this guy's doing really well. He's taken off. He loves his new home. He's got a little strange crook shape in his trunk for some reason, which we'll correct with time, but that's what it is. Here's another contender. He's a little weirder looking because he was... I'll be honest, I planted him a little sideways, and I've been trying to, correct him up with these poles. And I think I've done a reasonably great job. His growth is coming in. His bottom is bare because the deer like to nibble on him. He's a very strange shape, but fun fact, Dina, peach trees don't grow in the traditional apple tree shape where you think of the strong central leader, like the one big trunk and all of the branches coming off of it. Peach trees would rather break off much lower into the fruiting limbs. So these trees are honestly about as tall as I'm going to let them go. The way this guy's kind of weirdly shaped is actually not unreasonable for a peach tree. They grow big stout branches from the bottom. Very interesting kind of low branch peach or low branch tree. This is our donut peach. This is the guy I was worried about the most. He was a twig when I got him in the mail last year, and he's taken off and done really great. He's also kind of strangely shaped. He's growing it to that one side, but he's kind of bending himself back. So something that's fun. And these guys, if you look at the bottom, those are actually little sprouts, basil sprouts that come out from the base of the tree. They do it in times of stress. They do it sometimes for other reasons, but generally speaking, you want to get rid of those. So I'm gonna... If I can reach my hand in here, I'm just gonna pluck that guy and pluck that guy. You want to plug those so that the energy and the sap goes up into the tree. You don't want little low-lying bushes. You want a nice proper peach tree. Now we're gonna move on to these others, and I'll admit I do not remember what these three peaches are exactly. I know there's a Florida peach, a Georgia peach, and a... Oh, it'll come to me at some point. But yeah, other kinds of peaches. Again, same shape. These guys are a little younger, so they look a little scragglier. This guy's very odd. If we look at his base, he's got all these weird lumps and sap kind of collecting and pooling on him. I think he's quite unhealthy, but I'm letting him give it a chance to live because he keeps putting out new growth. He keeps, right now he looks a little barren because the deer keep nibbling, but overall, I mean, pardon that. If you heard that sound, if that was picked up, I think that was a baby deer screaming. Well, hopefully not for any reason of the dogs, but we'll keep an ear out. Taking a look at the other peach tree. Again, just growing kind of weird, kind of scraggly, kind of eaten. So now we're going to move on to the other peas. This is the persimmons. So up front here, we have one big persimmon and another big persimmon over there. These are Fuyu persimmons, the Japanese variant. So something fun that has been happening here. Well, we can even see a little suspect. So this guy with his little like middle legs picking up in the air as like a display of dominance or to scare me off is an invasive Japanese beetle. And he was responsible for this kind of webby damage. If you look at it, it kind of leaves the leaves skeletal. So to counter that, you actually, there's a very reliable method, and it's down here. So this is a beetle bag, specifically made for Japanese beetles. So the way you trap them is you have this kind of weird pheromone packet, and it's got a strange funk to it, and that attracts them, and then they just fall in and can't get out. So it's kind of morbid and gross, but there's, you know, that dark shape down there is a bunch of beetles that have fallen in. So one more story about the beetle bag, and brace your heart for this one. This beetle bag in particular, I noticed there was something big in it, and I went to go look, and would you believe it, a baby hummingbird had fallen in and died in the bag. Broke my heart. I was spinning for days. Just curious, like my parents have used these bags for years to kill the beetles that in their garden. Never once has a hummingbird fallen in, so, you know, always a new opportunity for tragedy. I couldn't even get rid of it. I had to call Amber to clean it up. Broke my heart. But on happier note, if we go over here, we can see some more of the Japanese beetle damage. But you'll see a bunch of little persimmons. Just, you know, little waxy guys. Persimmons are a very strange fruit. They grow these weird four-shaped flowers. They're very boxy, and the fruit comes out very round, obviously, but strangely angular at first. I'm not sure if these persimmons will survive. Almost all of the other persimmons in the garden have fallen off, but if this tree can make it and we can get these to ripe, then I will be absolutely tickled. But certainly in upcoming years, the persimmon trees are doing well. And over here we have a native persimmon, which I bought from Lowe's for about $50, maybe 2 days before realizing that we have a gigantic grove, probably 24 persimmon, Native American persimmons like this against the tree line over by the garden. So didn't need this guy, but we have him. He's planted and he doesn't have any fruit showing, but he's growing. All the light growth is new since we got him, all the older growth he came with. So yeah, just a happy pollination buddy for the other two. Now we move on to what I would hope to eventually become the cherry grove. Now, the cherries look a little ratty, I'll admit. The deer absolutely love it. But hey, this is life as a tree. You got to grow big and tall out of reach. So, you know, the deer keep eating and the tree keeps growing. This little fork here, like that's barren, was a big, lush head of leaves for a while. But as it goes, it got eaten, and hopefully it stays strong, grows up, and the next bundle of hair is a little taller and it doesn't get eaten. Oh, the variants. This is a Rainier cherry, which I'm not sure that I've ever specifically tried. I don't know variants of cherries very well, but I'm interested in them. I think cherries are very delicious, so I'd love to try all sorts of kinds. Here's a champagne cherry, one of the first ones that we got. There's a very strong tree. It's our tallest cherry. It's got some dead leaves on top. I think it's some water damage from the constant rain that's been coming, but otherwise doing very, very well. I'm very happy with him. This shaggy fella over here is a Bing cherry. He's got the same kind of symptoms as the previous Rainier cherry, just a little short, but they're doing great. These guys were quite small when we got them. They're growing very, very strong. Cherry trees grow quite tall, to my understanding, so I'm very curious to see how tall we let these grow, and before they start producing fruit. And over here we have a Stella cherry. And I gotta admit, I've been struggling with Stella. Stella's leaves keep dying and withering, but it keeps coming out with new leaves, but those are looking bad. But there's basal growth at the bottom, so it's still alive. I've had 2 trees die in this plot, like this hole that I've put it in, so I'm starting to think maybe it's the hole. But we're gonna keep an eye on it. I got faith, life is hard sometimes. Maybe you're just struggling. Maybe next year he'll come into himself and bloom really big. There's a big mulch pile, if Amber hasn't told you about. There's a service you can connect with arborists, so they'll go clean up. Like, for example, this pile's from a pine tree that I think fell on the road somewhere. And they go clean it up, cut it up, mulch it, and then they have to clean it up and dispose of the wood chips. And you can sign up to have them dispose of it on your property. So one day out of the blue, I just came out in this ginormous pile of wood chips, and pine straw was here. And it's excellent. We're going to use it to cover the garden. We've already put down a lot of mulch around trees at the bases, as you saw, but a fun and interesting service. Not useful for everybody. Goodness me, they have on the website, they have warnings. They have pictures of giant piles of mulch just dropped on suburban driveways just to kind of warn people off of thinking that this is a small amount of mulch, that this will be convenient for them. This pile that we got is actually on the smaller end of what they could deliver. They said they could deliver up to 20 yards, which is an absolutely mountainous amount of mulch and material. So we're going to move over here to the final bits. this is another apple grove that I've started on the other side of the driveway. So this guy's coming in a little sideways. So he was straight, but what happened is the deer grabbed his leafy end down there and pulled it down really hard. So I need to straighten him out some more. I just wanted to make sure he was doing okay, but the leaves are back. This is an Arkansas black apple. I don't know what that is, and it's, it's not truly black. It's kind of like a deep, deep purple, but I've never seen it before. Got this tree from Walmart, and I'm very fascinated to see how it does. All of these apple trees are from Walmart, it's not all of them are winners. So this is a Granny Smith tree, which I thought looked really questionable when I bought it, but it was the only Granny Smith, and I wanted to give it a chance. Granny Smith's been in the ground all season and not a touch of growth or movement, so she'll probably be replaced next year, but we gave it a shot. Can't give up. And this over here is a Macintosh apple. And this was the tallest, gangliest apple tree I ever saw. It had a teeny tiny pot that it came in, and it was 10 feet tall. It was absolutely it was absolutely interesting to get it in the car and bend it all sorts of ways and drive it home. And then to wrap up, we have another beetle bag. But here are our magnolias, which are growing very, very well. So on the left here is our bushier magnolia. This one's been growing out a bit more like a bush, as I was saying. And this guy over here is the taller one. So everything that's above the cage, and the cage is 3 feet tall, all of this growth has been from this year. It's really sprung out really fast. It puts out big, beautiful, sweet-smelling flowers that I'll collect sometimes and bring into amber. It's a good time. So thank you for going on this trip with me, Dina, to see the other parts of the trees and the yard and the garden. I hope that one day you can come and there's fruit bearing for us all to enjoy together. All right, I love you, Dina. I'll see you soon. Bye.